National Treasury has unveiled a 3.22 trillion shillings budget focusing largely on economic recovery and cushioning the population from the ravages of the prevailing coronavirus pandemic. Aware that keeping the population alive and spurring economic activity are the key priorities of the moment, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani has laid out an expenditure plan for multi-billion shillings economic stimulus package whose end game is to put money in your pocket. Lillian Carrier begins our coverage of Budget Day.
Jumpstarting an economy ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic is top on the government's priority list. The man holding brief at Treasury presented his maiden speech in a somewhat empty chamber of parliament.
In this regard, the National Treasury is re-engineering.
In the 3.2 trillion shillings aggregate budget, where 2.7 trillion is the recurrent budget, 56.6 billion shillings has been set aside to cushion vulnerable Kenyans and businesses, particularly those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The key 8 areas where the government will be focusing on are infrastructure, education, health, tourism, environment, water and sanitation, manufacturing, agriculture and food security, and injecting liquidity into businesses.
Mr. Speaker, in order to de-risk lending to the micro, small and medium enterprise, I have set aside shilling 3 billion seed capital to operationalize the credit guarantee scheme. The scheme will enable the provision of affordable credit in an efficient and structured manner.
To stimulate the agriculture sector, 3 billion shillings will go towards subsidizing farm inputs.
I have also allocated shilling 3.5 billion for expanded community household irrigation. These will caution farmers from the adverse effects of weather and further secure food supply chains. Further, Mr. Speaker, I have set aside shilling 1.5 billion to assist flower and horticultural farmers to access international market during this period when we are experiencing low cargo traffic in and out of the country.
5 billion shillings will go towards rehabilitation of damaged access roads and footbridges. 10 billion shillings has also been allocated for the Kazi Mtaani program. 712 million shillings has been allocated to provide credit for micro, small and medium enterprises in the manufacturing sector.
To cushion the vulnerable in our society, particularly the emerging urban vulnerable, the government provided an additional shilling 10 billion to boost the ongoing traditional current cash transfer program. Similarly, the government allocated shilling 1 billion to recruit health workers to strengthen the health capital capacity of the Ministry of Health, while allocating shilling 400 million for food and non-food commodities for affected households.
And once again, the CES directed ministries, departments and agencies to clear all pending bills, failure to which funding will be withheld. Ukur Yatani's first budget speech comes at a time when the economy has been brutally battered by the COVID-19 pandemic, locust invasion and ravaging floods. Ukur now says that the economy is projected to grow at 2.5%, which is a drop from the 5.4% which had been projected last year. Lillian Carrier, NTV.